Welcome to Subramani. I'm going to answer some questions. So one question is from this 42-year-old. He's saying, life is about balance and choice. Based on this, how should I choose my asset allocation? So largely the question is about asset allocation. So, well, when it comes to investing, the balance and choice depends upon your temperament, your mindset, and your goals, right? And of course, the amount of money that you have. So, financial goals could be short term or long term. So, your asset allocation will depend on that. So, it depends on whether you are in the wealth accumulation stage or you are in the wealth preservation stage. Since you are 45 years of age, I am assuming that you are in the wealth accumulation stage, and largely two types of investing strategies. One when you are in the young and accumulating, and then when you are slightly older and accumulating. When you are young and accumulating, you want to have more money in equities, but also that is at the time when you don't understand much about equities, so you tend to have a little more perhaps in debt when you're young, even though the textbook says you can have more in equity. But then it's a question of whether you have trained your mind enough. It's not whether you know, but it's a question of whether you have trained your mind enough to be in a greater amount of equity. So the wealth acquisition stage is something where I would have said just put everything in equity, because you anyway have your provident fund, your employee provident fund, which is anyway going into full debt. I mean, mostly into debt. So you have this much is enough, but 100% debt and 100% equity and 80% equity will achieve more or less the same results. And the 20% that you have in cash stroke debt will be useful, so that in case you need to withdraw, you have somewhere to withdraw and you need not withdraw from your equity. Having said that, if there is absolutely no need for that money, then it looks like a drag and saying, oh God, I could have been 100% in equity. But this 20% is largely to give you a peace of mind rather than giving you a great return. It's not even a wealth preserver or anything like that. It is just that, well, it is useful. It's like insurance, right? It's like term insurance. You take it and you hope like mad that your wife does not have to encash it, right? So the high amount of equity can bother you if your mind is not well trained to be in equity. If you are trained to be more in debt, and if your family has invested more in debt, then well, you should be more into debt and less into equity. So let us look at it this way. For the wealth acquisition stage, 100% equity can work. However, it will not work because people will scare you out of it, and so you will not do it. So you will add a little bit of bonds to it. Now, none of these stories saying 80-20 will work or 100% will work are cast in stone. Remember, these have all been carried out in the US during time when the US markets were rising like anything, and US dominated the world militarily and politically and economically, which meant all that data, all that research, you have to take it with a pinch of salt. In US research could mean 20-30 people and they would just flaunt it as research. In India we need a much bigger base because we are not just one country. We are so many varieties of people, from a trader to an investor to an educated person to an uneducated person, dependent on somebody, not dependent on somebody. So to draw up a good base from which to draw conclusions in India is not very easy. Now, if you are willing to do a little more work, you could do well with a 10 to 20% in bonds. If you do about once a year, you may want to rebalance your funds in such a way that you continue to be at 10-20% in debt and the balance in equity, which means whenever the market makes a major move, you might be pushed to saying, oh, let me reallocate. I do not know whether you need to do it, but yeah, there are many people who would do it, saying this is the discipline, saying I have to be 20-80 or 80-20 in equity and debt. So you will sell some portion of your debt and buy more equity when the equity market falls, and when the equity market goes up, you will sell some equity and buy some bonds. However, this makes it very tax inefficient. So if you can find a fund which is 80% in equity and 20% in debt, that will also take care of your life, because then you don't have capital gains coming and hitting you every time you rebalance. Secondly, if you invest this at the age of 45 and you decide to withdraw only at the age of 85 or say 80, which means next 35 years you don't pay tax. For this, it could even be a fund which is something like 70% in equity, 20% in debt and 10% in gold. That is also an asset allocation, and there are asset allocation funds available like that now. So you could look at, then you also have to look at risk and saying, well, the bonds will smoothen my ride, and the more that I hold in equity, the better the returns that I will get. This is true over very long periods of time, though of course over short periods of time you can be made to look like a fool by the market, where there was a 10-year period when the ultra short bond fund outperformed the IPRU Discovery Fund. Both are top funds in ICICI, but that did happen, right? There was a time when that did happen. You're going to be, but remember that to hold stocks, you have to be mentally tough enough not to panic when they plunge. In fact, to buy more when they plunge, that's not easy. And make no mistake that they will plunge. And it is not about knowing what is to be done. It is about doing it when the time comes. It is about training your mind about what to do when the situation is tough. I can teach you all the theory that when a tiger comes near you, all you have to do is stand still. It will sniff at your feet and go away. But the question is, will you be able to stand still and really do nothing when a tiger is so near you, right? Usually at the most unexpected times we behave very, very irrationally, and that is not your fault. It is a problem of fear, right? Since nobody can predict when the market will go up and the market go down, because so what are the factors which we take into account for risk tolerance? One is the temperament. How cool can you be when the market goes down? Can you stand still when there is a bear sniffing at you or a tiger sniffing at you, right? Flexibility. Are you flexible enough to say, okay, at this time I will change my asset allocation? Or when your income increases, you say, okay, I'll put more money into equity because my sources of income have increased. I have two sources from which I'm getting money, and I'm getting a lot of money. Every month I'm getting more money than what I need for the next 2-3 years. So I will build up little more cash positions, and therefore that will help me in being more flexible. And this again leads us to one very big question as to how much is the total money that you have. A person with 5 lakhs acts differently from 50 lakhs, from 5 crores and 50 crores and 500 crores. So fairly obvious that when you have a lot of money, you can keep some money. Like for example, if you're a 50-60-year-old and you think for the next 30 years you need say 2 crores or 3 crores, and that is available to you in debt instruments. After that, what you do with equity doesn't really matter, because whatever you goof up, your 3 crores is taken care of, right? But when you have only 45 lakhs or 55 lakhs and you're already 54 years of age or 53 years of age, and you know that you read about 5-6 crores, then panic strikes, then you act irrationally. That is the problem. Taming your mind and calming your mind is important. Knowing how much is the total that you have is important. So I would suggest for a young person, like somebody like my daughter, with the surety that she's going to inherit wealth from me over the next 10, 15, 20 years, or maybe tonight, if I die tonight, I don't know what she'll do. She should be more into 100% in equity. However, at 45, since you don't seem to be having any immediate goals, I would still put something like 80% in equity and only 20% in debt. And at the age of 60, maybe I will come to about 60-65% in equity and the balance in debt, not before that. So like I said, you have to see how cool you are, what is your temperament, how much you understand equity, how much you understand debt, how much you understand asset allocation, and what is the total amount that you have, and how flexible you are, which will depend on the strength of your balance sheet. If you have various sources of income and you have a huge corpus, obviously the answer for you is going to be different from somebody who has a single source of income. Wife is a housewife, dependent parents, then obviously the balance sheet is not strong enough to take risk. True in business, true in real life. Thank you.